Hey, everybody. Welcome to what may be a recurring thing here on the podcast where we are going to do a little postscript episode. We just talked about Distant Origin, the Voyager episode, and now we are here, Clay, to talk about a couple questions from our patrons that we put up on our Discord. So there's a lot of tech talk that you can waddle your way through. But if you're on the Discord, you can leave comments. And also, I think we're going to eventually start recording the podcast as a stream, which will be private for patrons. And if patrons want to watch the recording of the stream, they can come on and ask a question. We can do it after the episode and to release it a couple days later, which is what this is going to be. So we'll see how this goes. First question, Clay, from the Discord. Do you have any thoughts about Farscape from Hat89? And Russell Elledge follows that up with, have you checked out Stargate? And what are your thoughts on Stargate?
Farscape I tried to watch because I was looking for shows years ago and I came across Farscape on IMDb. I mean, I knew of it beforehand, but I was looking it up and it had like 10s across the board on IMDb. Like it was like one of the highest rated things I've ever seen.
Yep.
And so I was like, oh, okay. I mean, this must be pretty good. And I just couldn't get into it. I think I watched 2 episodes and it was, I love Jim Henson stuff. So I was, interested in the puppets and stuff, but I couldn't get into it for whatever reason. I've heard it's very good, but I just wasn't for me. Stargate, I like the movie, but
yeah, I've seen the movie.
Yeah,
you've actually reminded me I have something to say. I don't have anything to say about Stargate the series or Farscape at all.
Yeah,
but
I've never watched Stargate the show.
Do you remember the movie? I remember the movie being like a C- of a movie.
Oh, I'm sure it's not good, but I mean, Kurt Russell, James Spader.
I don't even remember that. I remember what is the Egyptian dog god? Anubis? Is that
the
dog?
helmet?
Yeah.
Because it was in the trailer and it was awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Excellent. Before every helmet did that in every movie.
What's even the plot of Stargate?
Stargate it's if I remember correctly, it's actually kind of similar to the episode we just talked about. It is, they discover this Stargate.
Yeah, the portal.
Yeah, to another planet that is entirely based on Egyptian mythology. And the idea being that this culture is what seeded.
Okay. Us.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
Which,
that makes sense.
Which in the movie, 10,000 BC, I think it was called.
Yes.
Which was done by the same director. Terrible movie, but the amazing twist at the end of that movie is you're following this prehistoric characters, right? And they end up in Egypt. You find out they're in Egypt, and when they get to Egypt, you find out that there are aliens there who are doing the Stargate thing. And I was I was so much hoping it was literally just going to be a prequel to Stargate, but it was not directly. But it kind of is. Bad movie, but worth it for the ending.
The other ones that followed up are 90s X-Files and The Expanse. I mean, the X-Files I've seen some of, but I've not seen any of The Expanse. I guess you could, if you want to briefly say what you think about The X-Files or The Expanse. I don't know if you've seen The Expanse.
I've never seen The Expanse. I know people love it. I'll get around to it eventually probably, but I love The X-Files. Yeah, I've always been a big X-Files fan.
I guess the larger question here is it's probably podcast related, right? Because the implication here is that there's a podcast in these series.
They're saying it without saying it, you mean?
They're kind of hinting at it, saying it with their eyes, which would probably not happen, like extremely unlikely that I would cover Stargate or Farscape.
I don't think I could do Stargate. Stargate is like, I think of Stargate in the same breath as Enterprise, because I think that they were on around the same time.
Oh, okay.
And Stargate is another one of those syndicated sci-fi shows where like the budget is not very high, and it went on for like 14 seasons or something. It's just not.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say. It reminds you of like a CSI type thing where it just goes and goes and goes and goes. But I think Farscape has 88 episodes, which is still a lot of episodes.
Yeah, I think it was only like 3 seasons or something of Stargate.
Yeah, four
Farscape.
Seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm at a point of the recording stuff where like I can't do outside of Star Trek, I just can't do a long form show anymore. It's so much to do.
And honestly, I mean, I love Star Trek. I don't think I could do this for a show that didn't have some sort of nostalgic meaning to me. Like I don't care about Stargate. So like 3 seasons deep on Stargate, if they're all like 2s, I'm not going to be rearing ready to watch more Stargate. You know what I mean?
That's probably, I never really think about it that way, but it is being familiar with Star Trek is probably what makes it bearable to watch a lot of it. And I don't have that with Stargate because what was it's the same with Battlestar. And I'm just at it, like, if I'm not actively watching a show that's going to go for that long, I'm very uninclined to watch 8 seasons of a sci-fi syndicated show. It's too much stuff. And I'm aware that I'm saying this as I do a Star Trek podcast. But the Star Trek podcast, I do have a memory, like a connection with.
I've tried, I'm a big Buffy fan, obviously. I don't know if people knew that. But I have tried, I think, twice to get into Veronica Mars because I know people love Veronica Mars, and I think it's just too removed at this point for me to really get into it. Maybe someday if I throw it on when I'm working and I can just start taking them in, but sitting down to watch that show, I was just like, I can't. No,
you're probably in a unique situation because I can't work and have something on in the background really, it's not conducive to what I'm doing. So that would be the only way I could burn through one of those longer series like that. Because when I'm thinking of watching it, I'm thinking of the sense of how we do Star Trek, which is like I sit down, I have to watch the episode for 45 minutes, and then I'm like, I have a couple notes, and then I go do the podcast about it. And that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Hat 89 has another interesting question. I'll try to get through this one. What type of situation is each Star Trek captain from each series most suited to handle, in your opinion? I was thinking about this, and I think that Cisco for me is the emotional personal conflict. Mm-hmm. That's like what I would define him as. Picard is the solving a mystery and speaking to the aliens at the end of it, Captain, if that makes any sense. Like he's the figuring out something that's gone on and then explaining it to a group of people who have phasers pointed at each other. That's his role. Kirk is there's some shit going down and I'm going to stop it, Captain, most effectively. Janeway is, I don't know what Janeway is. And Archer to me is, if Archer's got friends in danger, he's the captain that goes and helps them. That's my takeaway from Archer for some reason. What about you? Do you have any perspective on them?
Kirk is the one who you'd get to plan a bachelor party.
Yep.
Picard is the one who you would get to plan a dinner party.
Okay. Yep.
Cisco is who you would go to if you need someone to talk to your teacher for you. Janeway. Shit. Janeway is who you would get if you need someone to coach your soccer team.
Okay.
And Archer is someone you would get if you need someone to watch your pet.
Good enough for me. Good enough for me. So we'll get 2 more here. This is from Dion Blaster, who goes by Justice for Toonshoe. Have you, having watched most of the Trek shows now for the podcast, do you feel that there are any characters who are underappreciated and who should get more credit? Can be either main cast or supporting.
Tasha Yar. I mean, that's
underappreciated.
Underappreciated because of potential. She, I've gone on many times that I think she was a bit of a drop ball in the first season. She had a lot of potential, but obviously didn't get the chance to fulfill it.
So I'll put this in 2 ways for you to think about this question. So who is highly regarded but still underappreciated, and who is lowly regarded and is completely wrong? So my My highly regarded and still underappreciated is Riker. He's usually my answer for these questions.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Frakes just brought a lot to that character, and like he's the only one in the modern Trek that still feels like Riker in some ways. So I'm like, like there's something impressive here.
Yeah.
Anybody for you who do you think is highly regarded but still is not quite deserving of where they need to be? And then the other one is just lowly regarded and needs to be fixed.
Highly regarded but deserves to be
someone who is generally seen as positive. Like they're not like considered to be. You wouldn't say that people don't appreciate them, but you still think is underappreciated for where they are and what they brought to the franchise.
I would say probably Tuvok.
Okay.
Where I mean, he might be the other one where should be more highly regarded than he is. But I think he's probably the best character on Voyager. I think he's the best Vulcan next to Nimoy probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
I would think on the other end, maybe this is not the opinion now, but I think Pulaski is a character who's not well liked, but I think is effective and good. For a non-TNG character, it would be like
Yeoman Rand.
Rand. What she did for women's rights. I would say someone like I have a couple like that. Like I think that Worf is well regarded but underrated in some ways, and I think that like Odo is well regarded but is underrated.
Odo's a good
in some
one.
ways.
Yeah. I think Worf has is still like a zeitgeisty character.
Yeah.
Whereas Odo, I think you don't really understand what Odo brings to the table unless you watch that show.
Yeah.
Whereas Worf is just like, everybody knows Worf.
Yeah, he's the Klingon guy. Anybody bad? Anybody that you think is unfairly maligned?
Unfairly maligned? I mean, I think Pulaski is unfairly maligned a lot, and I think Tasha gets unfairly maligned quite a bit. I also think Lwaxana Troi is unfairly maligned. Yeah. I think she's people. I remember when we were doing TNG, people would always groan at her episodes, but her episodes tend to be pretty good, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I'll go with Pulaski. I think is my low answer. Thanks very much for the question. Andrew X with our final question says, will we ever have a Jim Kirk chess cup? Which is a question that we have chess tournaments every once in a while on the Discord. And I'll just use this opportunity to plug the Discord. You guys can head over there. If you want to join the chess tourneys, we already did the Christopher Pike Cup, and now we're going to do the Jim Kirk chess cup. So that'll be the second one. And if you're interested in chess and joining the Discord, you go to Discord. The link is down below.
I think it should be the Christopher Pike Cup and the Jim Kirk Classic.
Sure, we can do that.
Because I've always found it funny when they name something as something classic, and it's the first year they've ever done it. Like when they started doing the hockey game on January 1st, it's the Winter Classic. It's like you've never done this before.
It's just got that classic feel. You just feel like you're out in Canada with your hot cocoa watching the game. Thanks everybody. But yeah, join the Discord for the chess, and I will do that, Andrew. I'm just lazy. I think there's really no reason for it. I mostly, you can blame Tom Hickey because I play him in chess a lot, and I always go to bed angry because he fucking pisses me off and beats me all the time, and I get very angry about it. I just feel like it's that, you know, that Deadwood scene where Al is talking to Dolly and they're they're like bonding over the fact that someone restrained them and they weren't able to do what they do. Yeah. That's what playing chess against some people feels like. It's just like, I'm going to go here. They go, no, you're not. You're not going to do that. And it's like, nice. Come on. Thanks, everybody, for listening. This is the Postscript Show. We'll do additional questions for the next episode and all that stuff. If you want to join, become a patron, join the stream, leave questions, and we'll answer them. Let me know what you guys thought about this one. We will be back next week with the next Postscript and the next episode of Voyager, which is going to be called Displaced. Thanks very much. See ya.